Wednesday evening, so this arrived, and I'm hoping it's going to fit. But first I'm going to measure the hinge for Bernie. He sent me a text asking me to do that. Looks to me like just about an inch. No, I'm sorry, just about an inch and a half. Boy, I'm glad I looked a second time. It's supposed to be sunny today and raining tomorrow, but I guess the transition's starting. It's gray sky. Okay. Good fit on the valve side. I think we've got it. It went in 2 or 3 threads. Oops, wrong thing. It went in 2 or 3 threads, hand tight. Yeah. Good. We're going to proceed. So, I think I'm going to put the piece in the tank first, and then put the valve onto that. So I'm going to goop up this side first. Do I have a wrench that fits? I do have a wrench that fits. Okay. All right. I was careful not to put any over the edge, over the end of the pipe. I'm sorry, over the end of the fitting. I wanted to make sure that none of the goop goes. Make sure none of the goop goes inside where the fuel's going to be. Stuff is pretty thick, I must say. I didn't stir it well enough, so taking it off, going to clean it off and start again. This time for sure. There it goes. Yes. Okay. Oops. Gotta close the valve. Don't turn. There we go. I should read on the can how long it needs to dry. I turn the pump on. That's this guy here, vibrating like mad. I open the bleed valve. Which should allow the pump to pump fuel all the way around. Oh, I forgot to put this hose clamp on. Better do that. I can hear the fuel going back to the tank. I don't know if you can pick that up. Now I close the valve. And that should be doing that. Little tick, 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 tick is all. Alrighty. Good exhaust
corner. Well, I'm sad to report that the engine still stalls out. I'm gonna bleed it again, try it again, in case we missed something. Try it again. I don't know. Got spun up on its own while I was just looking at it. Or how it should sound for where the throttle is. So I'm a bit discouraged. Now I only had 7 gallons of diesel to put into the boat, and I have no idea how high off the bottom the draw tube is. So, not knowing what else to do, I'm going to go get some more diesel. I have 2 empty cans in the back. It'll be roughly 10 gallons. I'll put that in, and I know that then that can't be a problem. So I'll try that. More of this. Try again. So far, so good. I have it in reverse just to give it some load. That's not the river running. The river running is the other direction, very slowly. Well, I had the engine running about 20 minutes or more. It was at least 20 minutes. I thought I had it licked, so I shut it off. Went to go start it again, and then same thing. I had to bleed it to start it. And then the second time I got it going, it only ran like 3 or 4 minutes. I think I'm going to call in an expert. I think my plan is to call the yard tomorrow and talk to the mechanic here and see if they have an opinion or that they have time to look at it. Well, it's a resolution of some type anyway. So it is Thursday during lunch hour at work. I zipped down to the boatyard to try to talk to the mechanic directly. Apparently he did get my messages, but nobody called me back, so I was worried. So I usually every spring I bring down before I leave for the summer, I drop off like a case of beer or something for the yard guys, and because they're all very helpful, they're all very knowledgeable, and there isn't one of them that I wouldn't want to give a beer to or whatever they wanted. So I went in and I dropped it off, and then I went into the office and tried to get a hold of the mechanic, and I did. And he came out, and he actually saw me come in, and he smiled at me, and he said, you know, that bribe won't help. I don't drink beer. So my feeble attempts at ingratiating myself with the staff were very, very transparent. So anyway, they seemed rather amused than annoyed, so I think we're good there. But I did talk to him, and he said he really would try to get a chance to take a few minutes the next few days and take a look at it. And that's all I really wanted, was just somebody to take a look and to see if it was something easy to spot or not with the engine. So I'm hoping to get a call sometime today or tomorrow, and that's that. Check in later. I put the old boot in place to hold as holds the frame for this stuff. Hope it helps. Lesson learned: don't try to do this alone. I've completely ruined it. It doesn't even feel sticky. But man, it sticks to itself like nothing else. So I've been playing with the engine, but I haven't recorded any of it, so let me catch you up on what's going on. This fuel tank is currently hooked to the engine. So here's a half a tank, roughly. It goes in there, runs in here, and it's hooked to the Racor. So we did that before, because we wanted to see if the connection was, the fuel tank connection was the problem, or the fuel tank. So hooking it up here, and the problem persisted. So we ran this inline, instead of into the Racor, ran it into the fuel pump. I changed the fittings so that we could have a rubber hose hooked to it. Hooked it to the fuel pump, no problem. Put it back over here, and the problem happened again. Took out the fuel filter, reseated the O-rings, and put it back in, bled the system again, and problem is back. So now I'm going to check these fittings on top to see if these have anything to do with anything, and if that does not help it, or if I can't find it, I think I'm just going to replace this whole unit, and we'll go from there. So of those three fittings on top, the one on the right was loose a little bit. So I tightened that up, tightened up all three. I'm going to try it again. It'd be great if it was something that easy. Starting the timer. It's Saturday, it's almost 4:30, which means I have one shot at getting a solution at the boat store. The two boat stores close to me didn't have what I was looking for in fittings. So there's one a little bit farther away that has a lot more stuff, but it's, I don't know, 4 miles away maybe. Not bad, but I can't walk there. But if I can't solve it, or get something to solve it this trip, then my planned trip down the river to Saybrook tomorrow isn't going to happen. And if that doesn't happen, that puts the whole my next event, which is next weekend, my favorite event of the year, which is off soundings. If the boat is not ready, if the engine is not ready, I can't do that event, which will make me very unhappy. But if the engine is not running, what can I do? But at least we have the problem narrowed down to that unit. And I'm just going to replace the whole unit, and hopefully there are no other issues that are going to make this not work. So, cross your fingers. How frustrating. They close at 1 now. Well, maybe they always did. I just don't remember. But I'm disappointed. Happy Sunday morning. So I drove down to Saybrook to get a new water separator filter unit for the fuel line. And I'm hoping that's going to take care of the problem. I looked at the top of the old unit, and it, I don't know, the parts looked pretty worn. So I decided to replace it. So I'm going to put it in now and hope it works. Today was the day for taking the boat down the river. It's obviously not happening today, because this is going to take a few hours to set up and test, as well as cleaning up all the stuff I pulled apart to do this. I have an event next weekend. I may have to adjust my vacation days to put in a day to bring this boat down the river. That's if it works today. If it works today, I might do that. If it doesn't work today, there's no point. The Racor and the filter, it's not a Racor, it's a knockoff. But the The filter that came with it is the wrong size, so I had to get another filter as well. Plus I got some fittings for the those holes. The whole thing came to about 85 bucks. The filter separates fuel and water according to everything it says, but there's no way to see how much water, which the old one had the thing to see the water. So I'm gonna install it, and we're gonna see if it works. So I picked up a couple of 1/4-inch barbs for the fuel line, and it came with a couple of plugs because it has options of basically going left to right or right to left, if you can see the arrows. Anyway, pretty decent setup, pretty simple and straightforward. No moving or no maintainable parts in here, which is nice. The old unit, I can show that to you, had that on it, which I think was part of where it was failing. I don't know. This looks simple, so I'm good. So I'm gonna do these fittings first, then I will install the unit. So I put the goop on the threads and I wipe it around with a paper towel, keeping it off of the leading edge, and then just putting it in, tightening up. Simple as that. Let's hope it works. So this product is the 10 micron filter. Well, it doesn't say it anywhere. I had to look up the number. The other one that came with it is a 21 micron filter. I'll keep that as like a backup / spare, but this is the one that I plan to use going forward. Maybe even one with a smaller gap. So another trip to the store because the fuel line feed is not a 1/4-inch like I thought it was. It's 3/8 or 5/16, so I had to get a new connector that goes on the new separator. But maybe this, and I picked up some 5/16 hose as well to go between the separator and the pump. Maybe this time I finally have everything I need. We'll see. This stuff is so thick. I kind of do it like this. To get some globs on there. Take some paper towel and smear it around. And you get that. It's not bad. Keeps it away from the edge like we want, but fills in the threads nicely. I'll put it in place. I sure am glad I brought more paper towel down today. Well, silly me. Still had to make one more trip to the store. Have this connector. It's got a 3/8 inch barb on it. I need 5/16. I tried to jam it on the hose and it really didn't work. So I'm going to that store that I tried to go to yesterday at 4:30. So yesterday I said it was closed because it was Sunday, but I had my days mixed up at the time. It was Saturday and they closed at 4. On Sunday they close at 1. Right now it's 12:30, so once again I have one shot at this store. This store has more stuff than the two small ones near where my boat is. So hopefully we'll find what we need. So I'm happy to report that I got the part. Hopefully that's the last trip to the store. And I was just driving thinking about what gets me so tweaked in these boat projects. And I was thinking about there's two different kinds of boat projects. Ones where you need specific parts and ones you don't. Like another project I have coming soon is cleaning out the water tanks. So soap, which I have, brush, which I have, arms, which I have, hose, which I have, and for pulling crap out of the tank I have a shop vac. I got it. I'm not going to need to go to the store for anything for that. Washing the deck, it's a brush on a handle. You have a reasonable amount of time you need to get parts. In this case, the most I would need would be a bottle of deck washing biodegradable soap, and then there's the time spent scrubbing the deck. Very predictable. Projects like a failure in the fuel line on your engine, you have to diagnose it. In order to diagnose it, you need fittings that, of course, you don't have. So searching for the fittings, not finding the right size, just going to multiple stores, during this project, I have visited 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different stores. Some very often, and some less frequently. But that I had to get fittings just for diagnosing the issue. Then I had to get the main part I needed, and then I had to get new fittings because they're different on the new part. So I had to make everything go together again. So it's more trips and stores that don't have what you want because it's an oddball size. I've been pretty lucky. You know, I'm doing a lot of whining here, but if I lived up in a rural place, then your only option is, you know, one local store and what's online. So I realize that I do have it lucky, but it's just discussing the things that annoy me about certain boat projects. So, and then it's the busy season, so the mechanic had no time for it, because I would have, at that point, I was, you know, in a hurry, and I would have paid the, you know, for 2 to 4 hours for him to come in and look at it and fix it. But that was not available because it's you know, it's June in Connecticut. Everybody's working on their boats, getting it ready. The mechanics are completely booked up. Hopefully, I have in my car the last part I need for this project, and I really hope that when I hook it up, it all works. Because then I have a possibility of making my event next weekend. If I can't fix this today, then there's pretty much no hope of going to my event next weekend. So fingers crossed again. That's fingers crossing, by the way. So I did have to make another trip to the store to get hose clamps. I needed these little guys. I had plenty of big ones, but I only had one little one. Of course, I needed 2, so I bought 4, so I'd have some extras. Anyway, so let me show you the canister. So the canister is in place. Fuel line's all hooked up, all the way back to the tank where it is not hooked up. So after I connect the fuel line back to the main tank, the regular tank, I'll give it a try. We'll see what happens. And now we're just back where we started on this project. Hooking things back up for the final time, hopefully. There we go. I hope this works. I really do. Okay, I'm purging everything now. The fuel system's running. It just runs into the engine and runs back to the tank through the return line. That's running a few minutes. I'm gonna start the engine after I close this valve. Wow, that's sluggish. So it ran for over 20 minutes without a hiccup of any type. I'm very happy about that. One last test, and that's where I turn it off and I turn off the pump and I wait a few minutes and I turn the pump back on. And if it just catches up in 2, 3, 4 seconds, that's great. If it starts running and running and running and running again like before, then I know there's still a leak somewhere. So here we go. That is music to my ears. I'm going to do it for a longer period. If it works out, it's done. Okay, I'm turning the pump on again. Let's listen. That's good. I'm gonna go run the engine for 5 more minutes. So it peaked at 97 today. It's 93 now. Pretty warm. Anyway, happy to report the engine works just fine. I'm gonna see if I can do some work on the water tanks before I just have to go home, because I'm hot and tired. Okay, let's begin. Here are my tools. There's an idea of what's washed and what's not washed. Yuck. Okay, well, wrapping up the day. I'm leaving rather late after the engine was working. I did clean out the water tanks. I made quite a mess and had to clean that up. And there was a gentleman who was traveling up the river to his home port, but he ran out of fuel, so I gave him a lift to the gas station and back, because the fuel dock here is closed and he was basically stuck without fuel. So anyway, nice guy. We had a nice chat. Always good to make acquaintances in the water. You never know when you're going to need some help yourself. Anyway, so that's it for this time. Thanks for watching. Any suggestions or comments, please leave them below. Consider subscribing, and see you next time.